What is it, YouTube? This is Ricardo Coleman 789 coming at you with another video. And man, this video is going to be a bit of a doozy, just because of what has been happening for the past couple weeks. For anybody that's been followed, doesn't know, there's been a riff, I would say, within the Hebrew community, and like even at the same time as all this Diddy stuff was going on, it's crazy. But even just because of who I am, even this was actually bigger than what all that stuff that Diddy has been through or whatever. So maybe I might make a reaction video to all that one day. Maybe not though, just so y'all know. Cause I really don't care too much. I mean, I already knew that Diddy was on some fuck shit way before now anyway. Oh, excuse my language. But anyway, so like I said, there's been a separation in the Hebrew community because for anyone that does not know what's really going on, or know anything about him, there's a pastor. His name is Pastor Rufus, and he has actually been separated from the ministry that he has been serving for 13, 14 years by their head and leader, Pastor Dowell, Pastor Charles Dowell. And so anybody that's been following Straightway for any amount of time, they y'all know as Pastor Rufus, he basically won, and this is not my words, this is actually, a word from, this is actually what some of the other leaders said about Pastor Dowell and also themselves as well too. He's actually one of the famed leaders of Straightway Ministries, aside from Pastor Dowell. There's actually a few of them. Like, it's several leaders, of course, several pastors, even more elders and everything, other heads of community and all that, because they actually have like 13 or 14 communities all over the United States and even some overseas. And they have been established since the 90s. So almost 30 years or so, uh, you know, Straightway has been growing and growing and growing and getting bigger. And more stuff has been coming out about them over the time, over the years, because Pastor Dow, he's actually been making videos for years now on YouTube. And he's basically like letting us peer inside his life on a lot of videos. And he has so many lessons that are very, very valuable to anyone who has any type of faith or wants truth. For anybody that loves truth and or is in the faith of the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob faith, I mean, he has so many lessons. Like a lot of things he makes a lot of things in the Bible make way more sense. And I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it was not for Pastor Dow's lessons and videos that he was putting out. And Grant, he has a lot by now, y'all, like probably thousands. So, like I said, y'all can go over there and check it out if y'all want to. Check out some of the stuff he say, and man, I mean, it's gold. It really is. I actually came into the faith some years back. I was actually starting to come into the faith and learn the truth about who we are as Hebrew Israelites. A little before I even came across Pastor Dow. I actually started reading the Bible more, and I started getting revelation after revelation, and I was like, wow, like this Bible is really talking about us. And I was, like I said, it was some years back. I'm still a young man, but I was a little younger. um, and you know, sooner or later, I actually came across Pastor Dow, and at first I was kind of like, blowing him off or whatever. I'll try to watch him a couple times, and it was like, okay, whatever. But then, like the third time, it was like, okay, I see what he's doing now. Like, and then I realized, like, wow, this man is really genuine about what he is preaching. Like, by far in my life, he's the most genuine preacher, pastor that I've ever seen in my life. And I'm coming out of Christianity, so, and then he's Hebrew. But you know, when you first come into this truth, you don't come across ones quite like Pastor Dowell. Okay, you don't really come across many people like him and what he's actually talking about and how he's living. That's really what sets him apart from anyone else. It's how he lives and what he's putting out in front for everyone to see that wants to see. And you know, you can even visit his community and everything. They're always building. They're always, you know, like they always have it to where people of, well, like Hebrews all over, they can come and gather for the feasts throughout the year that Yah has set aside for us as Hebrews to celebrate and to recognize as basically our holy days. And so Yah has commanded us to do these, and so as Hebrews, that's what we do. Now, Grant, I haven't actually set foot on any of the Straightway land yet or any of the communities, but like I said, I've supported and watched and followed and listened to Pastor Dowell for years, you know, online. Um, like I said, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. You know, I'll still be lost. Probably, you know, I ain't gonna say I'm still be lost in Christianity, but you know, I would not have as much clarity as I do now if it wasn't for him. So I am definitely appreciative of that. With that being said, Pastor Rufus, he's always been, you know, looked at as I would say, the second in command. He wasn't the second in command because he didn't have like the highest rank out of everyone, but like Pastor Dowell will like you will see Rufus and Pastor Dowell together a lot, and you know Rufus also started making videos as well too. You know it seemed like they was always, you know, tied at the hip. Uh, you know, for as long as I've known them. Pastor Rufus, as a matter of fact, he was the first one to actually lead and establish community outside of the hub that Pastor Dowell leads at Tennessee. So since then, in 2011, it's grown from one or two communities to like 13 or 14. Like Georgia, Straightway Georgia, which is where Pastor Rufus was leading, that's actually, you know, that was actually the second established community outside of the Tennessee hub. So, with that being said, moving forward, it was just a real shock and awe when we heard about his separation from Straightway. Um, I would say it did take a lot of my attention during the feast that we as Hebrews celebrate, um, and also the Passover as well too. It did take a lot of my attention. Um, you know, I try not to think about it too much, but it was like, wow, this is serious. So, with that being said, Pastor Rufus been separated from Straightway Ministries it was crazy, and so a lot of people was confused, like why did this happen? Like out of everyone, why him? Now, Grant, like Pastor Dow has a lot of people have loved Straightway over the years. You know, when you're talking about real biblical faith and living the way that the Bible tells us to do, you're bound to have people that fall away over time or that leaves. That's just, you know, that's already prophesied, so we already know that's going to happen. But Pastor Rufus has always came off as one of the most faithful and most loving brothers and leaders of Straightway. And you know, like I said, him and Pastor Dow always seemed like they had a really good friendship, like they was very close. But then, I mean, it's to me, I would probably compare it to like David and Jonathan. You know, I would probably compare it to that type of friendship. And then all of a sudden, they're beefing. There's a riff, and now they're beefing. And now Pastor Rufus is now dropping videos occasionally to tell his side of the story. And you have some other leaders on Straightway telling their side of the story and everything, because all this happened when at a meeting. Like Pastor Rufus ended up going off on Pastor Dowell, talking about that he had a spirit on him, and it came off as being very presumptuous. And so there was a lot of offense taken with that. And so that actually is what ultimately led to his separation from Straightway. At first, from what I hear, they was actually going to put Pastor Rufus in another community, but they're going to strip his title as pastor because he could not preach, and he had to go and submit under another head at another community. So that was actually the original idea. But I guess Pastor Rufus wasn't standing for that because, he felt like that he was treated unfairly, and that what he did, it did not, what he did, it shouldn't have, like, messed. He shouldn't have been judged so harshly. And there were some other elders at the time that would actually agree. Like there was actually one other elder in Straightway. His name is Elder Brent or Elder Crago. I heard both names. He's an older guy. I think him and Pastor Dowell about the same age. Rufus, he's in that age range as well too, I'm sure. And you know, he ended up like testifying on Rufus's behalf in Pastor Rufus's first video, because Elder Brent, he was actually involved with a lot of the meetings, because Pastor Rufus said that there were actually more meetings, but he was only really involved in only like 2 of them, because he said he didn't have no notification of any other meetings. And so Pastor Rufus, excuse me, Elder Brent, he you know he was there, and he was actually part of the judgment table for Pastor Rufus for what he did to Pastor Dowell and what he was actually accusing Pastor Dowell of. And under the circumstances, he felt like that it was so unfair and so wicked that he actually left the ministry on his own behalf. Now, granted, this is another elder, and he also was the head of another community in Cleveland of Straightway. And, it wasn't really anything, it had nothing to do with Pastor Dowell or any other leaders voting him out. He just left on his own accord because he felt like it was very wicked how they were trying to treat Rufus. I'm pretty sure he felt like that he deserved some type of punishment, but like for them to try to strip his title as pastor and then tell him he can't preach no more and have to move completely over to another community and submit under another leader, like he felt like that was just too, it was too harsh for for the crime per se. And so that's how all this started. Then it snowballed into where like they actually have a video out on YouTube right now to where you have the brothers from Straightway Georgia, the one that that Pastor Rufus actually headed. They actually have a video out to where they was giving their testimonies living with Pastor Rufus. You had Pastor Dowell, then you had the other pastors as well too. Pastor Corey, Pastor Muir, Daniel Muir, who who was actually an ex-football player, and you had the other elders as well too. Um, so, oh, and just so you know, Elder Rob Mathis as well too. He's a former football player too. He's actually well known by that name. A lot of people may know who he is. So all of them was at the judgment table, and they was getting the testimonies of the people from Straightway Georgia in this video that's on YouTube right now. And they was basically like testifying that Rufus was not a good leader, and it came down to him being accused as being lazy, then also that he was actually like with he was actually like withholding funds from the other brothers and all that, mismanaging the money to, and it was like accusations where they was talking about that Elder Rufus was eating steak and everything with his family, and then you also had everyone else on the community eating ramen noodles. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and this was completely contradictory to. I ain't gonna say completely contradictory because Pastor Rufus in prior videos before that, before it was released on YouTube, he said that there was going to be a spin section of what actually happened, what was said, and I mean it's crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, Also, it led to this as well too because before there was actually supposed to be like a final judgment casted down on Pastor Rufus, to actually like leave Straightway Ministries for sure, indefinitely. He They say that they have the audio of a meeting that he had with the brethren, with the brothers of Straightway Georgia prior to the judgment. And so at the testimonies, there was another brother. His name is Brother Vernon. Um, Pastor Rufus actually mentioned him prior to me seeing this video. Um, Brother Vernon went to him and he actually said like, told he said to Pastor Rufus like, okay, are you sure you want to say all this right now? Blasey blasey. And, Pastor Rufus was like, yeah, like, we all men here, we spiritual, we got it and all that. Okay, so like I said, y'all need to go watch that video. Like, cause in my opinion of that video, just from looking at it the first time, like you would think that something, you would think that Pastor Rufus was actually like, bullshitting everybody for a long time now. If you look at that's what I got from the first time I looked at that video. But then I actually did a second look at the video and realized what what was actually said, and actually paid more attention to what was said and how it was said, how it was implied, this, that, and the other. And it overall, guys, like I felt like that the testimonies still did not give enough of evidence to say that Pastor Rufus was actually lording over Straightway Georgia. Like I said, this was after he already had his exchange with Pastor Dowell. We haven't seen that or seen anyone outside of the leaders and outside of Straightway. We haven't seen any of that or heard any of that audio. We haven't heard any audio from the meeting that Pastor Rufus had with the brothers before the leader's final judgment on him. We don't have any of that. As a matter of fact, this video with the testimonies, from what I hear, it was actually edited and cut from a 4-hour video that Pastor Dowell had on Patreon. And originally, that was actually a meeting. That was actually like the last meeting that they attended or whatever. It was like about 4 hours long. But Pastor Dowell actually put the entire video on Patreon for everyone that, for everyone to pay $100. Anyone that want to pay $100, they can go and see what happened. And so later on, Pastor Dowell brought it down to 20, and then he finally just cut the testimonies out of the 4-hour video and put them public for YouTube. And it's just like, I seen some things that Pastor Rufus already admitted on his own, and at the same time I also see some things that Pastor Rufus also said would happen as well too moving forward. Like I said, go look up Pastor Rufus. By now, at this point, he has like 2 or 3 videos. No, probably like 4 videos maybe, talking about this. 1 or 2 of them just talking about special thanks and all that. Um, but yeah, like you know, he's basically saying his side of what really happened in those meetings and everything. And he's basically letting you know like he was treated unfairly and that he should not had to leave Straightway. That's basically what he is saying. And like I said, you can't help but think that the guy is real genuine. And I guess his testimony supposed to be more so, to have people lean more so to Pastor Dowell and the rest of the leaders' side of the story. But I mean, in my opinion, I don't feel like that there was enough evidence that would say that, okay, Rufus needs to go. I don't feel like that. And like I said, at first I wasn't even going to get into all of this and everything, but at least not publicly on YouTube, because I feel like it wasn't none of my business. I feel like that since I haven't actually had my boots on the ground a Straightway, I shouldn't even talk about this. But there was some other people like Ringo TV, for instance, like he thought differently. And Ringo TV actually made a video of Pastor Dowell. It was supposed to be, it's titled Open Rebuke of Pastor Dowell. That one video, for some reason or another, I have not actually watched on my own. I have not watched that video yet, but that was like his first video that I know of that he put out concerning this topic. And so moving forward, Ringo has made like 3 or 4 different videos on this same topic as more information comes out. And when I'm watching these, and I've seen these other videos, so I'm looking at these other videos and I'm seeing, Pastor Rufus, he's in the comment section. You can see his comments that he's making on Ringo TV's lives, and he's basically kind of like pleading his case, and he's also, a lot of people actually supporting Pastor Rufus. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how many people are in support of him from Straightway actually, but a lot of people outside of Straightway is giving him a lot of support, based on everything that's been shown. They're definitely on his side, and now Pastor Dowell is the devil, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's crazy. Because at first, Pastor Dowell was kind of like dismissing the whole topic altogether. And probably part of the reason that he was trying to dismiss the whole topic was because, like I said, the saints have just, were actually in the middle of the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Passover, while all this was going on and while all this was becoming public to everyone. And so at first, Pastor Dowell was kind of dismissing it. He wasn't really talking much about it. But then, as time went on, as more people started reacting to what Pastor Rufus was saying, he started making little short videos and comments about what happened. And, he would tell you, like, he was presumptuous and, like, he shouldn't talk to me like that and, all that. And they said they judged him according to the Bible. And I think Numbers 30 is used to justify the way that they judge Pastor Rufus. And then you also have 1 Peter 5 as well too. But when I read it, me personally, I still don't see any, justification on how harshly they punished Pastor Rufus. Because at the end of the day, Pastor Dowell, as much respect as I have for him, like, he's still not Yah. He's not Yahshua. And so I feel like Grant, I get that he's actually the leading authority over all of Straightway. I mean, Straightway is his baby, and through Yah, he has been able to grow this much over time. But I think that a lot of that growth was actually contributed to Pastor Rufus from what I see. But that's just my opinion, and not just my opinion. Like Pastor Rufus has actually came out and said that himself that there was no other communities besides the hub before he got there in 2011. And so you put two and two together, you know, it's like, how can you really say this man is lazy? How can you say he's this and that? Especially when I'm always seeing him and you making all these, you make videos where you're saying that he's just like, he has like the biggest heart in the world and he really loves the saints. He said that he's you Pastor Dowell said that he is your road dog and everything. So he's basically the first one that is driving anywhere with you just so that he can help out with however he needs to serve. And so, but then when all this comes out, you're calling him lazy and fat, this, that, and the other. Um, I mean, it's just a lot of confusion because how can you come from saying this man is irrebukable, like actually ordaining him a pastor, saying this man is irrebukable, like months prior, and then now all of a sudden y'all get to this? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And like I said, this is not to bash Straightway or Pastor Dowell. This is not to bash Ringo or anything. I'm just giving a little bit of my thoughts on the whole situation as it is. I try not to take too long with this, but like I said, there is still a lot to uncover. And there's some stuff that's still not clear to us, and I'm not sure if it ever will be clear to us, who are outside of Straightway. But with that being said, it's a lot. Like I said, with that being said, Pastor Rufus has moved on. He actually had to leave the land within 30 days after being noticed. And you had some of the brothers telling their testimonies against him. But like I said, I don't see where I still don't really understand myself what warranted him being kicked off. And Pastor Dowell, like I said, he's not Yah. He's still man. And he doesn't even have a title as king. Now, Pastor Rufus has actually jokingly called him king before, because even though he is the lead authority of Straightway, like, Yah did not ordain Pastor Dowell to be a king. He's not a king. He ordained him to be a pastor. And Grant, he's always been a good pastor. But he doesn't have that type of authority the way he can just, I don't feel like he has that type of authority to where he can just take all matters in his hands, because to me it's coming off as like it was just an offense on him personally. And men are going to be men. Like, they talk to each other. Sometimes voices get raised. You may say a little bit. You may say a few harsh things, harsh languages, and everything. But at the end of the day, y'all are men. Y'all couldn't find any other way to work this out. Now, Grant, Pastor Rufus has went on record to say that there's been some type of rift between them already before all this took head. And he said there's actually been something going on with them since around December. And he didn't really know what it was, but he said he did go to Pastor Dowell prior to all these meetings and stuff. He went to Pastor Dowell and said that he just felt like there was something between us. And basically Pastor Rufus was saying, like, it would have just been better if you just told me that you didn't want to worship with me anymore, or that you didn't want to fellowship with me. Excuse me, you didn't want to fellowship with me anymore. But from what Pastor Rufus say, it was like, nah, that's not the case. That's not the case. Now, just to give a little background on Pastor Dowell's side, Pastor Dowell, way before all this came to public knowledge, he was already preaching a lot on Absalom and the Korah, Dathan, and Abiram situations. If y'all know anything about Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, that's actually in Numbers. Is it Numbers 13? Might be Numbers 16. I can't think. Let me see. Let me see something. Like, y'all, I know this word and I can understand it, but for some reason with me, like, it's hard for me to remember actual scripture verses and chapters and all that of where I saw, where they're actually like taking accounts of certain stories and certain scripture as well too. I don't know. It just never clicked with me. Well, let's see. Bear with me for a moment. Yeah, number 16. That's what it was. So if there's anyone that's not really familiar with that story, then go and read it. Like I said, it's all number 16. So read that story, and that's basically what Pastor Dowell was actually accusing of. Accusing as far he was accusing Pastor Rufus of that same type of spirit when everything came out. Pastor Rufus, he is staying on his stance, saying that like, nah, like I don't have a Korah, Dathan, and a Abiram spirit. I don't have that type of spirit. He keeps saying like he did not want Pastor Dow's authority. He did not want his power. He didn't want his position. He kept saying that. Like you can go back and look at the Pastor Dow video, back during Tabernacles when Pastor Rufus was actually ordained as pastor. Go look that up. If you go look that up, you can just look at the look. You can just see the look on Rufus's face when that happened. Like it was a face of shock and awe. Like it was probably almost as shocking as this news was to us in the Hebrew and truth-seeking community as well too. But yeah, he was in shock and awe, and he never even asked to be pastor, and that's usually how Straightway works. Like no one is actually nominated or know that they're nominated to move up or be promoted in Straightway before they actually get promoted in Straightway. That I've seen the video where they made Daniel Muir pastor, Kabir. Everybody probably know that name as well too. Kabir Gabasha Billion Million. Phone. Of course, he was an ex NFL football player as well too. Hall of Fame actually. Played for the Green Bay Packers. I actually seen it when he was ordained an elder in Straightway. Um, and yeah, I did Pastor Corey. I didn't see him get ordained because he was already a pastor before I even learned anything about Straightway. So by the time I came across Straightway, Pastor Corey was already established as a pastor sometime before that. But at that time, it was only Pastor Corey and Pastor Dowell who were considered pastors in Straightway. And so, anyway, you can just see the look on his face, but at the end of the day, Jeremiah 3:15 says that this is Yah speaking. He said that I will give you pastors according to my heart to lead you and to feed you. Talking about the people, the Israelites, also the sheep. He said that he will give people according to his heart, which actually lets you know that it wasn't necessarily Pastor Dowell promoting him, promoting Pastor Rufus. It was actually Yah that was actually promoting Pastor Rufus. And so, like I said, you always talk about how this guy's irrebukable, how he's such a great friend, great brother, really shows genuine love for the people, and you know, your road dog. And then all of a sudden he's coordinating in a beer room. Like it just didn't make sense. That's why there was still so many questions. And at first, Pastor Dowell was not saying much on the subject. I guess he was trying to avoid it. Shit, I got a low battery, so I guess I need to hurry up. But I guess he was trying to avoid it at first. And like I said, maybe because it was feast and everything. But it was like, man, like really? And so, because of the lack of what seemed like a lack of caring on Pastor Dowell's end, along with the leaders, Ringo TV, like he dropped like about 3 or 4 lives talking about the situation. And you know, every time Pastor Dowell or Rufus or anyone from Straightway drops a video talking about this subject, he goes right on YouTube and he reacts to it. And he gives his own thoughts and everything. And I would give Ringo this. He is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he knows his shit. I would say that. Like, he keeps his receipts. He keeps records of everything. Like, he's able to show receipts of anything that anybody, you know, brought to him, or that he brought to somebody else, whatever. Like, he knows his shit. Like, he keeps up with this stuff. So I definitely have respect for Ringo as far as like being very dang, what's the word I'm looking for? But anyway, I can't think of the word right now, y'all. I'm drawing a blank. But Ringo actually brought out receipts showing that he and Pastor Dowell have been supporting each other for years now. Like, Ringo got on YouTube around 06, and then Pastor Dowell in 07, and pretty much since then they've been on, you know, they've been supporting each other. But then Pastor Dowell actually dropped one video talking about Ringo, talking about that he's a man with zero honor. And and you know, in that video he tries to act like that he didn't know anything about Ringo. But at the end of the day, Ringo was able to show all the receipts and pull up letters and pull up patron accounts and all that to let them know, like, hey, no, Pastor Dowell, you know me. And so I guess because of that, that's the reason why, I guess that contributes to the reason why Ringo was able, felt like he can go so hard with the subject. And, you know, whether he was right in doing it or not, that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm talking about. But it did make more sense, though, when he came out about that. And when he showed evidence of him actually having a long-going relationship with Pastor Dowell. Just through YouTube, really. I don't think they really had too many encounters with one another, you know, face-to-face, but at least on YouTube. But anyway, with that being said, Ringo actually brings out a lot of points on Pastor Dowell's videos that are dropped. Pastor Dowell even went as far to have an ex-Straightway member that left the left Straightway some time ago to go do his own thing, whatever that was. And, you know, for some reason, this guy felt like that he can get on here and talk about Pastor Rufus. And if y'all go watch that video, I can't remember, I think his name is Brother Randy. Go look it up, Brother Randy on Straightway, or Brother Randy on Pastor Rufus, or something like that. Y'all go look it up. Like, he straight dogs Pastor Rufus. Like, he straight dogs him. But in addition to Pastor Rufus, he also dogs the rest of Straightway as well too, all the leaders. But Pastor Dowell, for some reason, actually uploaded that video to his account, to his own YouTube account, so that everyone can see. I guess so that people can get another point of view from somebody else besides him or the leaders that actually judged for Rufus to be voted out of the ministry. But I'm like, why are you using this guy when he's not even part of Straightway? And like, you look at this guy, like, it don't like he has no type of real spirit about him whatsoever. Like, he's talking about he had businesses and stuff. Like, what business? Like, and I'm just looking at Pastor Dowell on the side eye, like really? Like I said, once again, these are just my thoughts, y'all. These are just my thoughts and opinions. Like, you don't have to take anything that I take for actual fact, except for for the information I'm giving you. That's fact. But as far as like my feelings on it, that's just my opinion. So, with that being said, it's just like, throughout all of this, Pastor Dowell has did some stuff that you couldn't help but side on. Like, it's like, damn, like, do you really hate this man that much? Like, do you really hate this man that much? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not clicking. Like, even if you voted him out according to the Bible, like, how can you just forget? It just like he just completely forgot about all the good that Pastor Rufus has done. And I'm like, how can you forget about all that? And the growth that y'all have had, since he's been in the ministry, like, how? And so that part is really confusing. Now, if you go back to Numbers 30, there's an account there when in Numbers 30 it says that if there is someone in the congregation that presumptuously, or in other words, if they that's blatantly violate the commandments, like in full knowing of the commandments, but still violate it anyway just because they just want to, then they are to be put to death. So one thing that this guy did, one thing that in that account, you, like I said, you gotta go up and read some, and then you gotta read past that. So Yah is basically spelling out to Moses, like, this is what happens when somebody violates a commandment. At first, he's showing like if somebody does it ignorantly, which means without knowing or without realizing that they violated a commandment, then they're supposed to give some type of offering, and then they're to repent and be forgiven. Okay, still in the congregation, still one of y'all's people. And then it goes down to Numbers 30 where it's talking about being presumptuous, which basically means, once again, to blatantly violate the commandment with all knowing. It goes down to how you deal with someone like that. And then you move past that, they actually have an account to where there was a man, in all knowing that it's Sabbath, he still went out and got some sticks when he's not supposed to do anything like that on the Sabbath, and he knows it. So he was actually caught doing it, and then whoever caught him, they put a hold on him, brought him to Aaron and Moses, and then he was brought to the entire congregation. And by the word of Yah, not Moses, by the word of Yah, Yah said, put that man to death. So everybody in the congregation actually stoned this man until he died. Just throwing rocks and stuff at him until he died, because he purposely violated the Sabbath. And so that that right there, in addition to some other verses as well too, that was actually mentioned to justify the treatment that was given to Rufus. And like I said, me personally, I don't feel like that was the same thing. I don't feel like that Rufus deserved that. I don't feel like that was the same type of violation of a covenant. Because at the end of the day, and these are Pastor Rufus's words, not mine, he says there is no commandment that says thou shalt not offend Pastor Dowell. I mean, he's right. And like I said, Pastor Dowell is not a king. He's a pastor. But Pastor Rufus started calling him king because I guess even before all this even happened, he started saying that, oh, you're actually making decisions more so like a king than a pastor. And so those are his words, those are not mine. Only thing I can do is just take everything that I get and hold fast to that is good. Thessalonians 5:21. But even till this very day right here that I am recording this, I still don't have a straightforward answer on who's actually right and who's actually wrong. I might actually make a reaction video to that, to the Straightway Georgia testimonies. I'll probably react to that, and that's going to be a long video, y'all, because it alone is like an hour, 18 minutes long. And then, of course, I'm going to be pausing it and, giving my thoughts on everything that's been said and done on there. So that's going to be a long video if I do it. I think I am, though. I think I really am going to do that. Now, this video right here, believe it or not, I actually recorded this video like 2 times prior to now. Like the first time I recorded it, it was, right after Sabbath, and the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread. And then the second time was actually, last night after the first fruits. But there was some issue with uploading it or whatever. So, yeah. So this is actually my third take on all this. Like I said, me personally, I haven't seen anything to justify why they completely kicked him out and all that. And I do feel like that some of the testimony was actually janky as well too. Like I said, y'all can go look at it yourself. But like I said, I'm probably going to end up doing a reaction video to that one day. I would think that by now I probably wouldn't be as long with this video, but sure, I'm coming up to 50 minutes, almost an hour now. And I thought by now I could probably shorten this video up and do all that, but I guess not. Because like I said, it's a lot to unpack. And I'm pretty sure there was some information that I wasn't able to put in this video right now. But it's a lot to unpack from what we already know. And yet there's still so much that we do not really know for ourselves, personally. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Like I said, this is really a very confusing time. This is a very confusing matter in the Hebrew community. And, I know a lot of people were here for it. I know for a fact that a lot of people was here for it on YouTube, in the YouTube community. But, yeah. Like I said, this wasn't to bash anyone. I'm not bashing Straightway. I ain't saying anything disrespectful about Straightway. Because like I said, part of me still loves Straightway for what they made me. They really helped me grow spiritually and mature in this faith. And then nothing was said bad about Ringo either. I'm just saying what he said, and with all respect, I don't agree with everything that he said, but he brought out a lot of points based on the videos that have been put out and the treatment of Pastor Rufus. So, and then there's also some other people as well too. I haven't really looked at their versions of all this news yet either. But like I said, it's this is definitely a big deal. It really is. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Like I said, the next video that I make, it'll probably be a reaction to the Straightway Georgia testimonies. And yeah, that's going to be it. Remember, y'all like, comment, subscribe to my channel, Ricardo Coleman 789. And also, I also like to thank, it seemed like that I actually picked up a few subscribers since I last checked as well too. So I definitely appreciate that. Thank you for joining my channel. And, you know, I look forward to making more videos in the future. And just remember, this is about truth. I'm coming out with anything about truth, about, you know, manhood, all that type of stuff. That's what I'm going to be focused on mostly. And I might have some other things pop up from here and, you know, pop up from here and there, but, and, you know, just maybe do some fun videos or something. But yeah, like I said, I do appreciate the support for everyone that has given me support up to this point. So continue supporting the channel and help me grow. And like I said, I will see y'all later on the next video. Peace.